What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for yet another match preview, but not any match preview. It is the last game in our Champions League group stage game, probably the biggest game, well, most definitely actually the biggest game of our season so far. It's just as simple as this. We get a draw, we go through into the next round, we lose. There is still a slight possibility of us going through if we lose, but it's very unlikely. So we just need to make sure we get that point. We are away in Marseille tomorrow, which is going to be a, I know there's half the stadium's closed, but it's still going to be a fairly hostile atmosphere. Difficult game against a good side in Marseille. They gave us a good game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and they needed a sending off for us to go and really stamp our authority on that game. But coming into this game, Sim, what are you thinking?
I'm worried, I'm not going to lie. I am worried because, first of all, the way we started games recently, very sluggish, lethargic, standoffish, sitting back, allowing the opposition to have control of the game, and going behind. We've gone behind in 8 of our last 11 games.
Wow!
Albeit we've been fairly good at coming back. To be fair, we've still gone behind in those situations, and this is not a game that you want to fall behind in. If we lose, it's very likely we're going to be heading out of this competition, and that would be a really terrible situation to be in, having put ourselves in such a strong position in the group, just needing a win from the Lisbon game, and to potentially be in a situation where we find ourselves out would be a bit of a disaster. So as well with injuries, Romero looks likely to be out. Kulusevski and Richarlison look likely to be out. Big misses as well. Romero's very vital playing that right centre-back position for us. The fact as well that Marseille need a win. That they're really going to come at us. Whether there's an atmosphere there or not, they know they have one job, and that's to win the game. A draw is not good enough for them. They need all 3 points to get through. So that's going to add an extra edge to this game. And I don't know, recently we just haven't been at it from the start. And I feel like this might be a case tomorrow where we do go behind and we have to chase the game and earn the draw. I think it's a dangerous game if we think we're going to go there and stink out a 0-0 or something like that. I think that's a very, very dangerous game. I want us to play like we do when we're behind from the start. But at the moment, whether it's a mentality thing or whatever it is, we're not able to do that at the moment. And I was just reading some Harry Kane quotes about how he feels we're playing, and he says when we're falling behind, it's like the shackles are off because we've got nothing to lose and we play a lot better. And we get players forward. We put the pressure on the opposition. We're able to pen them in. We're able to be more aggressive. But we only seem to be able to do that when we're behind. We can't do that from the start. And we have to find a solution because, you don't want to be going behind in this game.
I guess the only thing kind of that can work in our favour in that way is that we don't need a win, and it's only a draw that we need. So if we do go behind, it's not like we have to chase that win and turn it around completely. We can, if we do go behind just like 1-0 in the first half, it's not the biggest result to overturn in a 1-0. When you're looking at Marseille, they're in actually dreadful form coming into this. They really are. They've haven't won in any of their last 4 games. They were 2-0 up on the weekend, drew 2-2. They lost to Frankfurt in their last Champions League game 2-1. They lost to Lens. They lost to PSG. And they lost to Ajaccio as well. Only one win coming against a 9-man Sporting in their last 6 games. So when you assess that form, do you read too much into that? Or just it's a one-off game this weekend, tomorrow, and there's not too much you can read into the form?
They're in bad form. They are in bad form. That's obvious, but they were in pretty good form before that. So if they're going to think if we can recapture that form at home, get a big performance in this home game, then we're going to have a good chance of winning. And they've got quality in their team. They really do. They do have good quality. So you can't write them off. They are in bad form, but we're not in the group. I know we're still not getting terrible results, but we're not in the best form ourselves. So we can't take anything for granted going into this game, and it's going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. I'm worried because we've been in this situation before where we just need one result. We know what we need, but it's, in a way, the fact that we only need a draw from a mentality standpoint can be a bit of a problem, because what do you do at the start of the game? Do you just go all out and try and get early goals and try and win the game? Do you sit back and try and protect the result and risk, a little bit of luck going against you? It's a difficult balancing act. And judging by how we've played recently, I do have a feeling that the way we are going to start the game is sitting back and just kind of inviting pressure.
Pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. Because what if we're 2-0 down at half time? You know what I mean? I'm worried about that situation right now.
Yeah, it is. It is worrying. It really is worrying. But how, Marseille need a win in this game. They need a win. Nothing less than a win can help them. So, that kind of puts their game plan right on the table for us. Surely they're going to come straight at us. And would you prefer that, or would you prefer a team that only needs a draw and they'll play to stifle? What would you prefer to play against?
I think past couple games when Sporting and Bournemouth have looked to stifle us, we've actually done a pretty good job. And I think I would rather a team try to sit back against us right now, because at least we have control of the game. Right now, when teams are pressing high on us, it's like our defence can't withstand it a lot of the time. Our midfield are still doing well, but the defence are seeming to buckle right now, and I think a lot of teams are seeing a bit of weakness there. So I'm worried about them pressing really high and suffocating us and petting us in, and bombarding our penalty area with crosses and shots and things like that. That is a bit of a worry. So they are going to do that. We know that. And also what worries me is, you think back to the first game at the Tottenham Stadium, they were pretty good at keeping possession for the first half. I know they didn't create too many chances, which is fair enough, but they were very good at keeping possession, very good at keeping it away from us and stopping our counter-attacks up until, obviously, the second half. We got them Mbemba sent off. But they showed they've got very good technical players. They're very adept at keeping possession, and it's up to us to be aggressive and get closer to them. And we weren't able to do that in the first game for the first half. And if they can add that a bit of edge to their game, which at home, maybe with a bit of the crowd behind them, that I'm worried they might be able to. I am worried for this game. I'm not going to lie. I'm worried.
Yeah, I mean, would you really be a Spurs fan if you weren't worried about this game? When you look at our record away in Europe, our record in the big games away in Europe, I mean, we just don't do well in Europe, whether it's in the Conference League, the Europa League, the Champions League. The record speaks for itself, but it's time for these players to stand up and be counted and really put in a performance and get the result we need to get into the next round. If you bring up the opposition lineup for Marseille, Eric Bailly's out, Ruiz has been out pretty much all season. When you look at this team, going for a 3-4-3 formation, they've got players like Kolasinac, Tavares, Payet, Guendouzi, Alexis Sanchez, Pau Lopez, all with connections to either Arsenal, West Ham or ex-Spurs. I mean, they're all going to have a point to prove, aren't they?
Yeah, and they know how to play a lot of them know how to play against Premier League teams as well. And they're all, like, on their day, can be very good players. Tavares started the season very well for Marseille. You had
Guendouzi.
Guendouzi is still playing very well. Sanchez is starting to score a few goals. You've also got Jordan Veretout, who's playing the Premier League as well, and he played for Roma. So he's a decent player. Look, they got good technical ability. They went on a long unbeaten run in the start of the season before it's all kind of fallen flat recently, but doesn't mean they can't get back to those levels. Sometimes teams go on bad form, but it doesn't mean they're that far away from recapturing the form they had before. So it's, especially away from home, it's going to be very difficult. We know our struggles away from home, and they need a win. That's never a good situation to be in. So they have good players, and it's not going to be easy whatsoever. And a lot of them have a point to prove. Payet, like, he's 35, but he's still a good player, a very good player. You can't give him time and space on the ball. And I'm worried that that's something that we've been giving way too much of to the opposition recently.
Yeah, and you don't want to give someone like Payet the opportunity to shoot from like 20, 30 yards, because you know he'll bang it straight into the top corner.
Or, give him lots of set pieces to get his teeth into, corners and free kicks. He's got great delivery and he's got a great effort, got a great shot. He's a chance creation machine. If you give him time and space around the box, you either put one in the top corner or he'll create a chance for them. So I know he's old, so if you mark him properly, you can shackle him. But if we don't, he's definitely one who can undo you.
I am super scared about Davinson Sanchez out there. I'm super scared about the likes of Emerson Royale and these kind of players that haven't really done it for us, to be honest. I mean, Sanchez, we used to say that he can come in for an odd game here and stand up to the challenge, but he's come in the last couple of times he's come in, he's looked so nervous, no confidence about him whatsoever. And in such an important game, having to rely on someone like Davinson Sanchez, just not the one, is it?
No. Oh, I think maybe we got a glimpse into a potential solution on Saturday with Longley centre, Dyer on the right, and Davis on the left.
To me, I'd prefer to see that than Sanchez on the right.
Yes, I would. However, there are caveats to that, because Dyer in the wide centre-back role, he did very well against Bournemouth, but you got to remember Bournemouth was sitting back. Bournemouth were allowing us to get onto them, so he had license to get forward a bit. Obviously, he created some chances and whatever, but with in this kind of game, is Dyer going to get exposed in that position with his lack of pace? Because you need to be a bit quicker in those wide centre-back roles. You need to be more comfortable in wide areas as well. Going over, you could even be, sometimes you have to be a right-back in those situations. Is Dyer going to be comfortable there? Those are big question marks that Conte has to answer. And as well, we didn't even touch on, Conte's not even going to be on the touchline. And how much of an effect will that have on the team? Because he's usually barking orders non-stop on that touchline. Maybe they'll see it as a relief not having him there, but he sees different things, doesn't he?
It seems like the majority of the team need him barking orders on the sidelines because some of them are just not good enough, and some of them need players, the manager, to be telling them what to do, when to do it, how to do it, who to do it to. You know what I mean? The attention to detail by Conte is so fine. That maybe in the odd game that they don't have it, who knows what can happen on that football pitch. Exactly,
and we're only going to find out in one of our most important games of the season, and that's not a great time to find out what it's going to be like. So there's a lot of things to be concerned about. However, we are still the better team. We have the better players. We have shown in the last couple of games, at least, that when our backs against the wall, we do come out fighting, and we do have quality to create chances and put our opposition under pressure, which we haven't seen that much of this season. Maybe it's because a lot of the season we have been spending time with the lead and protecting it rather than chasing the game. But we have shown when we are chasing games, we can pen the opposition in and create chances. And maybe the fact that Marseille are needing a win could allow us to exploit the spaces that they will leave. And it's going to be interesting to see what he starts with, Conte. I do believe he's going to go back to the 3-4-3. That's my guess. But if we do that, hopefully we can exploit Marseille going forward with the space they might leave behind, especially with people like Kolasinac, who we know can definitely be exposed and got at.
Yeah, we've definitely exposed him before in the past, that's for sure. If you bring up the ones to watch for Marseille, we've picked up Alexis Sanchez and Jonathan Klaus. Klaus is actually a player that we were linked with in the summer. Ended up moving to Marseille. 6 assists and a goal in 12 appearances from wing back. I mean, he can play on either side. He's been deployed on both sides this season. Predominantly, I think he is on the right, isn't he?
Yeah. I was speaking to a Marseille fan actually not long ago, and he said that he thinks Klaus should be playing for a much bigger team in Europe. He said he's been brilliant ever since he's joined Marseille, and he was brilliant last season as well. And even though he's 30, he seems to be really strong player right now. So seems as though maybe one we missed out on in the summer.
Yeah, and Alexis Sanchez, I mean, he's had a few years off, but he's come back, and since he's joined Marseille, I mean, he's scoring quite regularly for them. And, I mean, he scored a few against us, didn't he, for Arsenal in those big North London derby games. And is it a worry for you that he's the one that's going to be leading the line, because he didn't play in the other leg?
Yeah, I don't think he's as quick as he used to be. He still clearly has a bit of fight in him, and he's scored a few goals this season, 4 goals, 2 goals in Champions League, scored 4 goals overall in Liga. So he's clearly on his day. He can still be a danger. He's clearly not the player he used to be, though. So I am confident we can deal with him, but yeah, he didn't play in that first game, and you're that niggling feeling that he could just turn up and play at his best one day, and if it turns out to be Tuesday, then we could be in trouble. We could be in trouble because on his day, clearly he was an extremely good player, one of the best players in the Premier League when he was at his best. So even though he's getting on a bit and he hasn't been at his best for a few years, he still shows glimpses here and there of his best, and you just worry it's going to be against us.
Well, let's go and take a look at it. This is the state of play in the group. So Spurs top with 8 points, Sporting second with 7 points, Frankfurt third with 7 points, and Marseille bottom with 6 points. It can't get any tighter, basically, than it is right now. And as you can see, like I said before, all we need is a draw and we go through into the next round. I mean, what's the other caveats to this group?
Yeah, so a draw or win obviously takes us through. If we draw and Lisbon and Frankfurt draw, then we qualify top of the group. But if there is a winner in the Lisbon versus Frankfurt game, then we will not be finishing top if we only draw on Tuesday. If we lose, If we lose, and I believe if we lose and there's a 0-0 draw between Lisbon and Frankfurt, I believe we just about qualify in second, because I think that means we finish above, because we score. I think it will be on goals scored. I believe we finish second above. I think it's Lisbon. I'm not 100% sure, but if we finish 0-0, I think apparently if it's 0-0 between Lisbon and Frankfurt, and we lose, we still qualify. But other than that, if we lose, then obviously Marseille go above us because we're only 2 points ahead of them. And then if there's a winner in Sporting versus Frankfurt, then we'll obviously be behind them as well. So a loss virtually guarantees that we go out, basically. We go and drop into Europa League. We can't finish bottom, which is positive. So we're guaranteed a Europa League spot. But we pretty much can't qualify as well if we lose, virtually. So there's a lot of permutations basically in this group, but the simple thing is a draw or a win takes us through.
Yeah. When you're looking at the state of the squad going into the game, obviously no Richarlison, Kulusevski, Romero spotted in training. We heard yesterday that Richarlison maybe have a slight chance to make this game, but he wasn't spotted in training today. So, I mean...
looks unlikely at this point.
Yeah, exactly. So you've got to assume probably he's out. So Kulu's out, Romero's out, Richarlison's most probably out. How do you approach this game? Would you go 3-5-2? Would you go 3-4-3? If it is the 3-4-3, do you stick with Moura? Do you go with Hill? What would you go with?
I don't envy Conte and his coaching staff right now, because this is the most important team selection they have all this season, and there is no perfect answer. But I probably would go with, seeing as how settled we looked once Dyer came on, I think Dyer has to start, whether it be in the centre or on the right. He has to start this game. So I do bring him in. Longley looks comfortable in the centre. But it's just a difficult one whether we put Dyer on the right, Longley in the centre and Davis on the left, or do we bring in Davinson Sanchez, who was all over the place he was all over the place against Bournemouth, but maybe he can put in a better performance and you have to just bank on that. I think I would go... I think what Conte would probably do is bring in Sanchez, only because we're more used to that. And is this a chance? Is this a game to experiment? Probably not. That's what I think he would do. I think, and if it does, and if it's not working, then he'll have to change it. Then he'll change it wherever after a half time or whatever. But that would be my guess. My guess is, despite how bad Sanchez was, he would probably start him just to avoid, because he likes stability, doesn't he, Conte? That he when given the chance to either change things, or if he has an opportunity to keep them as same as possible, that's what he usually goes with.
I get that, and Sanchez brings you stability in that sense, but actually he doesn't bring you stability when he's on the pitch, because he's so nervous and so uncomfortable on the ball. He just frightens the hell out of you every time he plays, especially when we've seen him this season. I mean, he stepped in back end of last season and played well, and we were praising him, but every time we've seen him this season, he's looked dreadful, to be honest. And me personally, I'd like to see Dyer step in on the right and put Longley in the middle.
Yeah. I would also like to see it, but I'm trying to think how Conte thinks, and I'm predicting that he won't do it. I'm predicting he probably will go with Sanchez and Dyer in the centre, and probably keep Davis there on the left.
It's interesting that he didn't go for Sanchez at Bournemouth on the weekend. Maybe that was with an eye on this game. I don't know.
He did go for Sanchez.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah, sorry, he did.
Yeah, he did go for Sanchez.
He did. So
Sanchez was awful.
Yeah. No, I was thinking because Dyer came on. And, yeah. But
and then I think on the right, obviously, I don't want to see Emerson. Emerson started. I thought he was going to actually save Emerson for this game, but he didn't. So Doherty probably does mean Doherty's playing on the right. I think he's going to. I think he's going to go for a 3-4-3. I think he will, because I think he kept Lucas on the bench with a view to starting him in this game as well. Probably Perisic as well. So I reckon that's what he'll do. Bring Lucas in. Put Doherty on the right. Perisic on the left. And Bentancur and Højbjerg in the centre, 3-4-3.
Yeah, I might even like to see Hill start this game. I didn't want to see him start in Bournemouth because I think the Premier League might be a bit too physical for him. But in the European games, he seems to be doing well. He's come on in all the European games apart from Marseille. I mean, he came on against Sporting, came on against Frankfurt, looked good. I would like to see him play in this game, to be honest. But is it too much experiment?
That's the thing. I just don't think he's going to want to change it that much. I reckon if he's going to start... I'd also wouldn't be too against giving Gil a go, but I don't think he will. I think if he's going to start 3-4-3, Lucas will start on the right, and then it'll be Perisic. Yeah, that's what I think. That's what I think the team will be. And that probably keeps it as much the same as it possibly can. But keeps stability in the team. Obviously there are things you have to be worried about, but that's the thing. That's the team I'm probably he's thinking about.
Are you happy with that?
Not delighted, but I'm not sure what more he can do unless he puts Star on the right and plays Longley centre. That's the only real thing maybe that could give us a bit more also gives us a bit more quality on the ball out of the back three as well. That's also a positive thing out playing out of the back. Am I happy with it? I mean, obviously, I'd rather Romero and I'd rather Kulusevski, Richarlison. They're not available.
Yeah, obviously, but from the players available,
I'm not sure what more he could do.
All right. Well, what's your score prediction? You're filling me with a lot of confidence going into this game. I tell you that.
I think we have to be aware of how hard this game is going to be. It's going to be really difficult. I think it's going to be a draw. I think it's going to be 1-1.
I'll take that right now. I'll take that and run back home to London with a 1-1 draw.
I think we're going to be 1-0 down, and it'll be a case of chasing the game later on, and we'll the nerves and the fingernails of all the Tottenham fans will be bitten to right to the end. But we'll get a goal within like the last 20 minutes or something. We'll get a 1-1 draw, and it'll be seen as a glorious draw, basically.
I'll take it any day of the week.
That's what I reckon is going to happen.
I don't care how we do it. Just get that point tomorrow.
Because it is going to be interesting to see if we do go 1-0 down, how Marseille react to that. Because if are they going to keep coming at us? Are they going? Because 1-0 with at the start they know that there's one thing they need to do, and that's win. So they're going to come right at us. But if they are winning, do they settle for the result? Do they try and park the bus and give us encouragement, or do they keep coming at us and leave gaps in behind? So that's also going to be an interesting dynamic. Probably keep coming at us because we are vulnerable at the back right now. But they're a team on low on confidence, on low form. So maybe they'll think it's best to sit back, soak up pressure, and just try and see out the result. But I don't know. There's so many different dynamics going into this game. It's going to be very interesting, but hopefully we come away with the result. It's such a massive game, and I hate that so much is riding on 190 minutes. I hate it.
And not only that, but 190 minutes that Conte is not even on the sidelines for.
It's not a situation we want to be in. So it could have been avoided.
Where two of our best players are out for the game, Romero and Kulusevski. You know what I mean? We've got a lot of things going against us. Not only that, but it's away in Europe against a strong side in Marseille. I mean, we just need to go there. We need to stand up to the challenge. We need to really stand up tomorrow night because it's going to be so difficult.
I think we need to be brave. We need to be brave and actually be brave on the ball and go forward and not just think, oh, what if we concede and go and lose. We have to actually be brave on the ball and think, actually, we can win this game. And
if we can just pretending they're 1-0 down from the start. Just pretend you're 1-0 down. You know what I mean? Just play some football.
Yeah. That's what I hope. I hope they do. And that maybe, and if we can get an early goal or something, settle the nerves, that would maybe give us a good platform to go and get a result. But
because if we do play like that, they won't beat us. They will not beat us. We're the better team than them. If we play our football like we know we can, like we did in the second half against Bournemouth, like we have done, we've shown this season when we have been behind. If we play like that, they won't beat us. We'll be too good for them. Yeah. But it's if we go into our shell, if we become pensive, if we start doing a sideways, backwards, slow, no movement thing, then it's going to be a long night.
And also having no Conte for like half-time team talks and stuff like that as well. That's also a big problem.
Be Harry Kane doing it. Just get into them.
It'll be Lloris. Lloris will do it, but it's like usually so often we're not doing well, and then he has a chat with the team at half-time, and we come out with a lot more energy. So the fact that he's not going to be there. Hopefully doesn't affect that too much.
We'll see how it goes. My brother's going 1-1. I think I'm going to go 2-2 actually. It's going to be difficult, but Yeah, I'm just backing the boys to get the job done. I just have to at this stage. I have to believe that we're going to get it done because it's such an important game. I'm so nervous for it as well, and I'm extremely worried going into it. But I just have to believe that we're going to get the job done. I just do. And I'm excited to hear what you guys out there have to say about the game. Link is in the community section now if you want to join. But before we do that, let's just get into the BetMate. Obviously, a fantasy gaming app where real money is up for grabs. Last week we had a We Are Tottenham exclusive pot where Barry was the winner, so big up Barry, and even KPV was in the top 3 as well, so big up to KPV as well.
The We Are Tottenham TV listeners.
Yeah, exactly. The We Are Tottenham listeners really getting into the act in that one. But for this week we have a pot which is
£500.
£500. It's £5 to enter. If you enter the promo code WATTV5, then you get a free £5 as well. It's a really fun game to play. Everyone knows FPL, so if you know FPL, you'll be very familiar with this game. But you also get rewarded with defensive actions as well, which is quite interesting. But let's look at our individual teams. Starting off with my team. I've gone for Ter Stegen in goal. They are away to Pilsen, so I expect they're going to keep a clean sheet, but you never know with Barcelona, to be honest. I've gone for Jules Koundé in defence as well, obviously away to Pilsen, and he's actually been performing really well recently, Koundé. I've gone for Mazraoui of Bayern Munich at the back. They've got Inter Milan at home, and that game is a dead rubber. Bayern already through, Inter already through, first and second. So I'm actually... A lot can change actually with this team because you can change your team up to 5 minutes before kickoff, and because it's the last group stage game, you actually don't know who's going to play in these specific teams. But this is what I've gone for now. In midfield, I've gone Kamada, obviously a really important game in our group in the other games. So I expect Frankfurt and Kamada. If Frankfurt do anything, I think Kamada will be central to it all. And I've gone for Zielinski alongside him for Napoli, who play away at Liverpool. And then up top, I've gone for captain Harry Kane and Mo Salah, who are at home to Napoli.
For me, I've also gone to Stegen in goal. At the back, I've gone for Perisic away at Marseille. I think he's going to start, and maybe with corners, getting us another assist. Pedro Porro of Lisbon at home to Frankfurt. He's obviously a very big danger at right wing back, so I've gone for him. In midfield, I've gone for Bentancur and Kamada. Obviously, Kamada has been scoring goals, and Bentancur getting lots of tackles, interceptions, and starting to add a few assists and goals to his game. And up front, I've got Lewandowski away at Pilsen. Hopefully he'll start. I think, knowing Lewandowski and his Champions League goal record, he'll want to keep that up. So I reckon he will start. And then Steven Bergwijn away at Rangers, he's been in decent form in the Champions League, Bergwijn, and overall as well. So gone for him. Obviously subject to any change on the lineups. And then captain Lewandowski for this one.
All right, so that is our teams. You got to be in it to win it, guys. So download the BetMate app, put in our promo code for that free £5, and come and take us on in a big night in the Champions League tomorrow night. Not only for Spurs, for all the people taking part in BetMate as well. But I think it's time to go to our guests. And up first, we have got Ashmatic. Yes, mate. How you doing? Yeah, I mean, really nervous actually for the game tomorrow night. How are you feeling coming into it?
Yeah, same. I feel really nervous about the game, and understandably, our results and performances have been a bit wayward of late. We've been getting away with it, but as you guys said before, sometimes it feels like we have to go down a goal before we start performing, which is quite worrying.
Yeah, Ashmatic, I want to read a quote from Harry Kane, and I want to know what your thoughts are. He was asked why Tottenham seemed to start playing well after we start losing, and he says, I think when the players are free and we have nothing to lose, we play better. We get more people forward and we keep the pressure on in the opposition half. That's how we played against Sporting in midweek, and here it worked out in the end. I think they talked about against Bournemouth, and he said we kept knocking the door, and thankfully we got through, but it's something we're going to have to improve. What do you think that says about the team when he's saying things like this?
I think it is a personality thing. It's almost like you've got your homework to hand in last minute, and then all of a sudden all the pressure's on, and then you have to perform and hand that homework in time. Or if you've got a deadline, an assignment to hand in, or I don't know, you've got a missus it's Valentine's Day, like, oh man, I need to get the chocolate, the flowers, or it's someone's birthday and you have to rush out. It's that sense of urgency that's making the players kind of like wake up. They kind of need to be slapped. I think that's why when they go in at halftime, Conte just gives them the hairdryer treatment, and then they come out different players. It's almost like they need to be shouted at and they need to be like shooken up a little bit to perform. Because even Sessegnon was saying that in his press conference. He said he looked over his shoulder and he saw that a player he was about to be replaced, and then he makes that dart and run into the box and takes a touch and shoots and scores, and that's what thankfully kept him on. So I feel like the type of personality types in our team, some of them kind of need that kind of urgency, something to go drastically, not wrong, but something to kind of wake them up for them to react to, um, for them to react to a situation rather than being proactive, because you want your players to have initiative, be assertive, be forward thinking, anticipate. And I feel like when I was watching the Bournemouth game, that's where the game was lost in the first half. We weren't winning the 50-50s. We weren't winning the aerial battles, the second bounces, the second balls. We weren't getting those. And it's that 5 or 10% margin. When you're not getting that, that can be the difference. Even in the last Champions League game, it was coming to Højbjerg and Bentancur bouncing all over them. They're trying to take a touch. It was flying up in the air. I've seen that with Basuma. He's tried to take a touch. It's just bounced up and it's miscontrolled. And it's those small little things that can kind of contribute into either a good performance or a bad performance. And also, I've seen players on the sidelines. I saw it with Richarlison. Richarlison on the sidelines. He comes off and he does that assist at Nottingham Forest, the cross. And everyone's like, oh my days, Richarlison, da da da. So he's come off the pitch and he's watched the game, and then he's got that kind of energy, that assertiveness, and he's changed the game. And then I've seen it with other players as well. Brian Hill, obviously, of recent, he's come off the bench. Bentancur came off the bench. Energy, Dyer came off the bench. Son came off the bench, reacted. Who else? There's other players as well. They've been on the bench. Even Basuma, there's good performances, have been coming off the bench. So sometimes it's a bit of a mentality thing, and sometimes I feel like it's a thing where you can see the game and you're sitting on the sidelines and you're not involved. It's different to when you're actually playing, if that makes sense. So
no, I get that, but this game, it's going to be interesting to see how we approach it again, because with that in mind, we know a draw is good enough for us tomorrow. We know that we don't necessarily have to win to qualify. So given that, are you expecting a very similar start to the game as maybe in recent games, as Kane has been saying?
Yeah, I'm expecting a cagey game. I was expecting a cagey game last week as well, and I thought the same. I reckon the same kind of approach is going to happen. They're going to want to start fast. The intensity is going to be there at the start because they're going to want to show intent. And the manager's probably enjoyed it into them. I've obviously read Conte saying, on the sidelines, he's saying faster, faster, faster. He wants it faster. So I feel like that message has been drilled home. But doing that and saying that and keeping it up for a lengthy period of time is one thing, and actually doing it in real time is another. So talk is cheap, my friend. Let's see what happens, man. But I honestly... that's how I think it is. I just think with Tottenham, we're just nervous. Like in the positions where we need to be assertive, we're not assertive. We're not pushing up high up. Sometimes we push up high the pitch, but sometimes it's personnel. Like on Saturday, that back three have never played together. So it's a communication. I've noticed when Dyer's on there, Dyer's talking left, right, do this, do that. Højbjerg screaming, there. Sometimes when there's not a lot of talking and not a lot of communication, that in itself can stagnate the team. People have never it's like if you've never worked with someone before, the communication, the chemistry is just not flowing together. So I think it's gonna have a similar. I think we're gonna have a similar lineup to what we had last week, with Doherty maybe as a wing back and Perisic as a wing back as well. And Dyer, I think maybe he will move over to the right centre back. It makes sense, to be fair. Sanchez is not really feeling that confident. This is an important game. Better to go over the more confident player. I mean, Dyer's had not the best season, but that performance would have helped his confidence a great deal. And he is the one that talks a lot in the on the pitch. So between him, Longley and Davies apparently chats a lot as well. He talks a lot as well on the pitch. So you need as much communication as possible, and I feel like that's what we're going to run with, and it will be nervy, but I still think the boys will come away with it.
Do you think we're going to go 3-4-3, 3-5-2? What's the
Yeah,
best way to go?
3-4-3.
3-4-3. What with Lucas on?
You know what it is? Formation for me is not a game changer. It's not a deal breaker. So if Spurs went 3-5-2, it's just personnel. It's just who's available. So if we do a 3-4-3, I think Lucas goes in again, only because Brian Hill comes on, he changes it, he has energy. You need someone of quality to bring on, and I feel like Brian Hill now is that player of quality that we can bring on, as opposed to looking to your bench and not bringing on anything and then having to bring on 4 or 5 defenders. So I think that team that started last week will start, and I just feel formation-wise, they're going to come at us. There's going to be space in behind. Unless Spurs do 3-5-2, and I think Højbjerg sits. If Højbjerg sits and Benton Kerr plays like the 10, because I think Benton Kerr, he's our most technically gifted player at the moment on the ball. So in that position, I feel like he's the one that could add creativity out of all the players. So if you went 3-5-2, I think Basuma, just sit, don't go any further, just be a defensive mid. Højbjerg, push up and be the gap between the two, and then and just between the two of them they could just help to add creativity, and that worked against Leicester. But we haven't really played it like that. We played the 3 in the middle, they all kind of moved together as a unit rather than one sitting and 2 going, and I think that's been detriment to the way we played. But my biggest thing for me is the centre backs arriving late to add to the attack, or even Højbjerg. When Højbjerg has had an assist or when he's had a goal, he's always arrived into the box late. A bit like how Dele Alli used to do it. He used to come into the box late, and that's how you kind of... It depends. If they sit back, you kind of need that player that kind of arrives late, and that's how chances are happening. And you can't just rely on Son and Kane, as we know. We haven't been. But it's nice if you get like your Højbjergs, your Benton Kerrs get involved, or your Ben Davies or Eric Dyers or whoever's at the back, making a late surge and run into the box. No one's picking them up. Boom, goal. Do you know what I mean? And so I still think we'll go over 3-4-3. But yeah, I just think it just depends. There's different phases of the game, so we'll see what happens on the day.
Well, Ashmatic, absolutely humongous game tomorrow night out in Marseille.
Massive.
Having said all that, what's your score prediction?
I would say 2-1 Spurs, man. I'm going to go for the victory.
2-1.
I'm keeping positive vibes, positive energy.
That's it. Spread those positive vibes to everyone in the chat, everyone in the studio. Come on, we need it for tomorrow night. Come on, Ashmatic. Thank you so much for coming on today, my friend, and I'll see you next time.
Love. Peace.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on.
Big up Ashmatic. We've got a super chat here from Powder TCG saying, games like this, you truly realise there's no depth in this squad. Way to get me down, Powder. Way to get me down. But, yeah, I mean, he's not wrong, to be honest. But let's move on and let's go to the Daigle. Yes, Brian, how's it going, mate?
I'm good, boys. How are you?
Nervous, man. Very nervous. Big game tomorrow, man. I can't stress how big this game is. Are you confident going into it?
So first of all, Ben, I have to say something here. Simeon was saying things a while ago, and you said, "Yeah, thanks for bringing me for rocking my confidence." The next 3 things you said was Antonio Conte's not there, Kulusevski and Romero out. I was like, "Yeah, that doesn't make it even worse, does it?" That
Still facts.
It is still fact. It's awful, and I want to put a bet on with you, Ben, because I can't wait to try your cooking like Ashley did in a certain video you released, mate. I'm going to make loads of bets with you. I want to experience Ben's cooking. But yeah,
what's your forfeit for the bets?
Oh mate, I think we know when I make forfeits, I go crazy. I'm not prepared with that.
I don't really think you want to be making bets, Brian.
Yeah, I've been told by my wife I need a lawyer present when making bets now. So yeah, the bets are off at the moment. But getting back to the game,
That was a quick retract.
yeah, I know. Do you know what it is? I think everything. Yeah, quick, get away from that subject. What I think a lot of people are forgetting, or hasn't been mentioned, is just how hostile and volatile that stadium is going to be. I
Yeah,
mean,
it will be, but it will be that bit less hostile because of the closure of the north stand or whatever stand it is.
Yeah, but let's face it. Look how the team started off against Bournemouth, and they're not exactly known for their hostility, are they?
Yeah.
It's going to be hard, like you said, with these defensive things, like you announced about Romero. I mean, let's get this right. Romero has not been like champagne and skittles all season, has he? He's been woeful. But you feel a lot less without him. I'm kind of like what you said, Ben, about putting Dyer on the right of the right of the three, and trying to shuffle it around not to get Sanchez in,
Yeah.
because it's very, very concerning. We talk about how much the stadium could have an impact. We don't need players that go jelly legs or lack concentration. And let's say Davinson Sanchez is very, very, very high up in the lack concentration department. So that's worrying. I've heard rumors. Would you? This is the thing. Would you play Kulusevski from the start if he's deemed by the coach as fit?
I would, but I think it's like very, very likely that he doesn't play at all, not even in the squad.
Yeah. What about you, Tim?
If he's deemed fit enough, I think it'd be. It's very important to get through this game, so I would play him, even if it risks him getting injured. I think it's very important. But it looks like he's not going to be available. So apparently he's making sure he's going to be fit for Liverpool. That's all we're hearing.
Yeah, that's kind of where I am. I mean, for me, if he was deemed fit or worthy of game time, for me it has to be on the bench and for emergency purposes only. If we go down or it looks like they're in the ascendancy, then bring him on near the end to try and see the game off, and save him for Liverpool. And save him for Liverpool in the Premier League. That's our bread and butter. I think we should have enough to get through it, shouldn't we? I believe we will. But I just don't want to risk Kulusevski. Let's have a look. He had an injury, came back, picked up another minor knock. We can't risk this. We can't risk him coming back and then doing it again and being out for longer. So for me, bench maximum for him.
Well, how would you like to approach this game? Would you like to see 3-4-3, 3-5-2, and the personnel as well? What are you thinking?
I'm so confused with this right now, because I really wanted to see a three. Do you know what? You didn't want to see Brian Hill in the Premier League, and I understand why. But I think for the lack of creativity, we saw again in the first half just how bad it was, and you saw it firsthand. The first half was shocking in every department. Brian Hill for me has to start. Whether that's in a 3-4-3 and he's on the right, or a 3-5-2 and instead of playing three sitting midfielders, so to speak, we go with one offensive, and he'd be the offensive one. I think he has to start. And the formation, obviously down to Conte. I personally am thinking more 3-5-2 just because we're the away team. If it was at home, I'd probably say 3-4-3. But depends who that. If Sanchez was there, I'd play a 3-8-0. No, that makes 12. A 3-10, or whatever formation that makes bloody 11. But yeah, I don't want Sanchez, and I think Brian Hill is a must start for me anyway.
Brian, what do you make out of Kane's quote saying on the mentality of the team that they seem to play better when we're losing because it means we have nothing to lose and we play with a bit more freedom and we get more players forward and it's easier to keep pressure on the opposition when we're losing?
Well, what he's saying, as we've seen this season, is factually true, but it's just embarrassing. It's embarrassing that very close to our record goal scorer, almost England's record goal scorer, the England captain, the Tottenham vice captain, is having to come out and say, do you know what, we play better when we lose. That's embarrassing. And the fact that the club just go, yeah, okay, we'll allow you to say it. That's the mentality of this club, unfortunately, that's been set. There's no, I keep saying that word, accountability. Could you imagine Roy Keane saying that? If Roy Keane said that, that would be in the changing room or in private, and it would be dealt with in the changing room. There would be arguments, there would be everything. I mean, I keep remembering, you remember the Human Son documentary when he does his bit with Thierry Henry?
Yeah.
And when he's interviewing Thierry Henry, Thierry Henry's telling him in that Invincible season, the arguments we had with Jens Lehmann because he didn't get to keep a clean sheet was like, yeah, you may have scored 4 or 5 goals, but I didn't get my clean sheet. I don't get my whatever it is. That's the kind of arguments you want to hear within the team, not the captain or vice captain coming out going, yeah, well, when we lose, we seem to play better. We have more freedom. Play better. Start better. It's not rocket science. It's just, don't you think it's embarrassing that that's coming out?
I mean, maybe they should just pretend they're 1-0 down at the start of every game.
Exactly. I mean, could you imagine if the players come onto the pitch for the first half, go, do you know what would be really good? If we play shit and get an absolute fire and rockets shoved up our arse by Conte. Let's do that. Let's really piss him off so he goes mad. It's ridiculous. That part is ridiculous. They shouldn't need that. They shouldn't need that. It's spineless that they need to go in at half time and go, do you know what? You're playing shit and you're losing. How about you put some effort in now? And they do it.
Brian, what about the right wing back situation tomorrow night? What'd you do with that?
I'd play my 3-year-old niece rather than Emerson.
Okay.
I honestly, I can't. People say, yeah, he's a good defender. He offers nothing. He offers absolutely nothing. And then I always use the line that I heard Alistair Gold say, that when Emerson crosses the ball, the best you can hope for is a corner. And it's the most truthful
Not
thing
wrong,
ever
though,
said.
is it?
You know what I mean? That's how bad it is. The best you can hope for is a goddamn corner. I think it'll be Doherty.
Or an offside goal.
Yeah, or that. But he seems to favour in the last few games Doherty. He played Emerson in the Champions League because he had to, and rest Doherty whilst Emerson had his suspension. And it does seem that he has one right back for Europe and one right back for the.
Well, Emerson played at Bournemouth, didn't he?
Yeah. So Doherty will come in the Champions League. Just like when Doherty started in the Premier League, but Emerson was suspended and came in the Champions League. So it's kind of role reversal. I would be at a push. I mean, I know it's a big ask to play Spence, but at least there'll be some attacking momentum coming down that wing. You know, someone that will just try and do his best and try and get forward. And Marseille won't know what to do with him because Marseille wouldn't have known anything about him. So if I had to give it in ratings, like it would be Doherty, Spence, and then Emerson. But I'm only saying Doherty above Spence because he's got the experience.
Brian, if we were to drop into Europa League on tomorrow, how much of a disaster would that be for you? Or would you see being in the Europa League as an opportunity to maybe get our hands on a trophy and maybe a good chance to get another trophy, to get a trophy?
Well, we say get our hands on a trophy. Barcelona, Atletico Madrid and Juventus are dropping into that league, just to name a few. So there's a few there.
As well as Arsenal and Man United, who we've already lost to this season.
Yep. So you add them, and then God knows who the others are that will bounce out of the Champions League. Then we go. We were very happy not to be doing Thursday, Sunday. We go back to Thursday, Sunday. And then you've got to look at it, and I've said this, with Bastoni, who apparently he's coming in the summer, or we're making a move for him. Let's say we go to Europa League or don't even qualify for Champions League next season. Are they going to say, oh, yeah, I'll come now? They want Champions League football. They want to see us doing it. I think going into the Euro, I think it was Ben that said it, not you, Simeon, that said I'd rather go out of this bloody thing, out of Europe entirely. But I know it's not an option. But if you said to me now we could have finished third or fourth, I would have said either qualify or finish bottom. That's what I would have said, to stay out of everything. And do you know what? Even worse so is if we don't get out of the group stages, and we were so happy with our draw. Yes, we got the easiest draw. The banter that's coming our way, and we just have to stand there and take it. The banter is going to be so fierce that, and do you know what? It will be totally and utterly deserved. Let's just say if it does happen, Simeon, it will be an extra string for my bow for what how I feel on a certain person.
Brian, what's your score prediction for tomorrow night?
Do you know what? I think we'll get the job done. I just don't know if it's going to be a win or a draw. So I'm going to go Desmond. Like I thought it was going to be a Bournemouth. I'm going Desmond.
All right. Well, let's hope you're right. I'll take any draw right now. I'll snatch your hand up for it right now.
Exactly. Are you two going?
Not at the moment.
Well, if you do, be safe and have a good time. And if you don't, let's hope we do a good job. And yeah, I will be back about on the pump up from the Scotland Yard tomorrow.
Big up. Looking forward
Nice
to it,
one,
Brian.
Brian.
Thanks for coming on
See
today,
you
mate.
later, everybody. Have a great day.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. And as always, Levy out.
He said, come on, you Spurs, and he loves Levy. No, I'm joking. He said Levy out. Let's move on. It's KPV. It's close to midnight.
Oh. Maybe it's not KPV.
I think
Carl?
his
Kyle? No. Get him. Get him
Nah, I
off,
think
get him off.
his internet's not really working. Is there anyone else? We got Marlon. Let's bring Marlon on. Yes, Marlon. How you doing, man?
You right, boys? How you doing?
Yeah, I'm getting really nervous for tomorrow, man. How are your nerves holding up?
You're making me nervous. You're making me so nervous. If you were more positive, I would be like, you know what, I can get behind this. But I've been listening and I'll be like, he's making me more nervous than I already was. I can't see how we're going to get the job done tomorrow. I've been trying to
Really?
rack it around in my head. How are we going to do this? And then I keep saying, but we're Spurs. So I'm not sure if we're going to do it, it's going to be a draw. We're going to somehow make it hard, make us all sweat. But yeah, Champions League, Europe, away, Spurs need to get something. It could be a Barcelona all over again. That's where I'm going through. I think it's going to be another Barcelona.
How do you see us approaching the game? As Kane's been saying recently, we seem to be playing better when we are losing. Do you see us tomorrow kind of starting the game as we have been recently, very kind of standoffish and low block, or do you think maybe we'll have the confidence to try and get the win from the first whistle?
No, we'll take that negative approach. It's probably in a weird way it has been working all season. So we're not going to go there and try and attack Marseille. We're going to see what they come at us with, and then we'll probably approach it better in the second half. But I think it's going to be a long 45 minutes for us Spurs fans, and I can't. Conte's not going to change his way in the sense of it will work for him. He'll weigh them up, see what the crowd's like, see what the players are like, and then if he needs to, he'll tinker with things in that second half if we need to go for that win, or if we need to, if we're hanging on, then he will need to change something anyway. But I think he'll go there for that draw. He will not be, he has a terrible record in the group stages, and he will be going, I need to go through tomorrow. You could blatantly tell from the lineup on the weekend that the Champions League is in the forefront of his mind right now. And we just have to go there. The boys have to go there. They've got you got players like Lloris, you got players like Harry Kane, you got players like Son. They need to go there and have no fear. But as someone pointed out earlier, Ryan Sessegnon, he came on, he was about to be taken off, and as soon as he saw that he was about to be substituted, he became a different player. So, I think Conte just needs to let the handbrake off a little bit and just let them go at it. I'm not, I'm just going on by the Marseille game in the first game. If they never went down to 10 men, we were quite cagey in that one. So I don't know. I want to be confident, but Ben, it's all your fault. You've made me nervous.
I don't plan to, man. I'm trying to stay as positive as I can, but this is Spurs. This is Spurs away from home in Europe. Not only that, but our most important game of the season so far. And there's a few question marks in terms of team selection. A lot of people speaking about the defence. I mean, with Romero being out, what do you do with the defence? Do you want to see Davinson Sanchez back in the team? Would you put Eric Dyer out to the right and put Longley in the middle? What would you do?
So this is a weird one. I was thinking about this, and I've been probably, I'd actually put Sanchez back in. I know a lot of people are going, why? But actually, if you can put a decent right wing back next to him, he's okay. And what I would actually personally do...
Who's a decent right wing back, Marlon?
I'd put Dyer there. I'd actually put
right
Eric
wing
Dyer
back
out there because he's played right back before for us years ago, right, when he first came, and he will attack. If he needs to, he can swing some balls into that box. And I think he's a better option than Doherty and Emerson Royal. But a lot until we see it, it's one of them. I'll try and test it because he will still talk to that back three. So why not try something like that? I know a lot of people going, but it's but Royale and Doherty, they've given us no confidence in them. Let's put Dyer out there and give us more of an attacking threat out there than what we've got. Because he's not going to play Spence.
Is tomorrow the time to start experimenting with Dyer right wing back, do you think?
Personally, well, considering how our right wing back situation's been, why not? The other two are not, they've been so bad. And let's be honest, Doherty's had one good game. Royale's had a couple. If you were going to pick between the two, you'd probably say Royale's probably had the better performances. But even then, both of them are just not good enough, and we know it. I'd rather have no one out there, if I'm being completely honest. But we have to put someone, and that's why I'd probably go with try Sanchez and put him next to Dyer. And if it doesn't work, at least you can bring Dyer back in. But I don't think it will be that bad. I think Sanchez's game on Saturday was just poor all round, but so was Royale, and it was just literally like you needed to fix one thing on that right hand side, and he took Sanchez off first, and you saw the change of what happened in that second half. But I would personally experiment because we need to do something. If we go with Royale or Doherty, I still think we're going to have problems.
Yeah, you just see it though now. Like Dyer starts right wing back, and we letting a goal down his side. Everyone's like, why did you play Dyer at right wing back? And you know what I mean. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. I don't think it's a time to really start. Yeah, I don't think it's a time to start like experimenting to that extreme. I think Dyer should start on the right at the back three because he got forward really well against Bournemouth in that position anyway, didn't he?
He did, but I think to be honest, I think it's a lot of the players because they were like, we're 2-0 down, we've got nothing to lose. Yeah. They kind of just went for it anyway. I think if he plays right, if he does play there tomorrow, we won't see the same Dyer we saw against Bournemouth. He won't push as far forward because he'll be worried that they might get in behind him. Because let's be honest, it's a better opposition than Bournemouth. Yeah. But it's one of them. It doesn't matter who I pick. I'm still nervous. It doesn't matter. I could have the best right wing back out there. I'm still nervous because they'll still have to put on a Spurs shirt. They will still have to go there with these tactics, and they just need to do something. And I'm not entirely sure what it is. But I'm hoping that they had one eye on this game from Saturday, and we can go there with a game plan and get it done. That's all that needs to be done right now. Go there with a game plan, get the result, and then just get Liverpool out of the way at the weekend.
Just get that point tomorrow night. But what's your score prediction tomorrow, Marlon?
I'm going to go for a 1-0. I think we'll go 1-0 down. And then Lord Saviour, as he is, Harry Kane will win it for us. We'll get the draw.
Yeah, well, basically will be a win. But Marlon, thank you so much for coming on today, mate. And we'll see you next time.
No problem, boys.
See you, Marlon.
No problem. Bye.
Big up, big up, big up. Let's keep going and put those fingers away, Carl. How you doing?
I'm good.
What's with the mask today? Is it Halloween or something?
Yeah, it's Halloween, mister. Loser, lost to Ashley at fantasy football. You lost, mate.
Who's going to be the loser tomorrow night?
Huh?
Who's going to be the loser tomorrow night?
Well, I don't know, mate. It might be you again, but who knows, pal. But, yeah.
Kyle woke up and chose violence today. What's going on?
Who cares, blood? Is man mad about Alan Leonard and Fadella's fam? Less of that.
How are you feeling about the game tomorrow, Carl?
Feeling like, I don't know, say 50% confident. 50%.
That doesn't sound like you, Carl.
Well, I'm feeling 50%, mate, because I'm hoping Kulu is available, because there's rumours he might be available.
I don't think so somehow. I think they might be keeping him for Liverpool, but we'll see.
Oh, shit. Okay. There was rumours he might be.
Well, that's down to 40%.
On the Bournemouth Stadium, but okay. Well, okay. fair enough. I'll let you off. But okay, but we'll get the job done anyway without him, and let's get the job done tomorrow. I'll go 3-1, like
Oh, is he gone? I think he's gone.
Don
right.
and Bentekers again.
All right, nice one, Kyle.
Bentekers, Bentancur, like
Bentancur to
another
score.
Bentancur masterclass. Another
All right. Yeah, I think.
All right, his internet is struggling.
Nice one, Kyle. Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, Carl as well, showing his love for Daniel Levy in the back end. But I think that is all we have time for today. But that is your match preview. A lot of nervous Spurs fans, including ourselves. But I think that we need to gather together, find that confidence, and go to Marseille tomorrow night and get the job done. That's all we need to do, is just get a draw. Let's just get the job done tomorrow. Don't be all Spursy tomorrow. Let's please just do the job. But predicted lineup coming your way, and player tier list coming your way as well. So keep an eye out for all the content coming your way, as well as the press conference later on tonight, which is not with Antonio Conte, but with Stellini and Højbjerg. So all the content coming your way. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
Come on, you Spurs.
Spurs.